I don't understand this rush to take down the house.
It makes no sense to take it down. If I were the defense, I'd be objecting.
They are getting training records of people the prosecution isn't even calling on.
There's new information in the Bryan Kohberger Idaho murder case that he was watching them for a while.
It's not concerning because it's training records.
If I were the defense, I'd be objecting wholeheartedly. And
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Davies.
Oh my gosh, you guys, we have so much stuff to get into on the Bryan Kohberger Idaho 4 case. Let's get started. My name is Jessica Davies. I'm an investigative journalist, and my job is to investigate potential suspects, look at the evidence, consider the crime scenes, why were certain decisions made, why were certain weapons used, and it's to share with you how to do the same thing. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. Let's get started. Today, we're going to be looking at pictures of the Latah County Jail inside and out so you can see where BK's staying. We're also going to be talking about Blue, Snarfing, and Kaylee. Did BK have access to Kaylee's Bluetooth? Did BK have access to Kaylee's Bluetooth? These devices listen all the time, and we're going to be talking a little bit more in detail about Blue Snarfing. If you didn't see my live stream on this, you'll want to check that out next. I'll link it for you in the description below. So Blue Snarfing is a hacking technique used by hackers to access wireless devices through a Bluetooth connection, and we know that Kaylee had a Bluetooth in the house. We also know from Steve and Christy Goncalves that they never received Kaylee's laptop, Apple Watch, or Bluetooth back from law enforcement. So why are they holding on to it? And is this going to be something that helps them link Bryan Kohberger to the Idaho students' 1122 King Road house? And I'm going to show you pictures of the jail where BK is being held in just a moment, so please stay with me. So authorities obtained a DNA sample from the crime scene that did not belong to any of the victims. The DNA was found on that tan leather knife sheath underneath and to the side of Precious Maddie, and using public genealogy databases, the FBI was able to match this DNA sample to either the father or grandfather of the perpetrator who did it, and it turns out it matched to Michael Kohberger, who was Bryan's father. And Taylor has made a really big deal about genealogy. She would like to get the information of people that the FBI went through to get to her client BK, and in my opinion, she's looking for a straw man. A straw man is a person that the defense team will use to say, it wasn't my client that did it, this straw man did it, this person did it. And we saw this being used very effectively in the Casey Anthony case. Jose Baez stood up and made all kinds of claims about George Anthony that most of us do not believe, and it worked. Now, Judge John Judge is not going to let Ann Taylor just have access to all of these people's DNA. Can you imagine if you were just innocently using this site to maybe find out if you had been adopted or not, and all of a sudden your name is being blasted all over the press by the defense in this case, and maybe you're being innocently put up as a straw man in a crime that you had nothing to do with? And I'm going to show you pictures of the jail where BK is being held in just a moment, so please stay with me. So Judge John Judge said no, she could not have all of the names in this, and I think it's important because these people use these websites for purposes that have nothing to do with crimes. They have a right to their privacy. I don't think any of them ever dreamed in their wildest dreams they would be dragged into the Idaho 4 case. You know, before BK was arrested on December 30th of 2022, law enforcement had been surveilling the Albrightsville, Pennsylvania home where BK was staying with his parents. So they looked and watched BK taking his trash in Ziplocked bags separate from his parents' trash, walking it down to place in neighbors' trash cans. And yes, they collected that trash. So I'm looking forward to seeing what law enforcement is going to have regarding this at the trial. So authorities also said that BK cleaned his car, quote, cleaned his car inside and outside, not missing an inch, end quote. I know when BK was arrested, he was standing in the kitchen in the middle of the night wearing a t-shirt and shorts, wearing his medical grade gloves, and ziplocking his personal trash separate from his parents. That's what he was doing when he got arrested. So let's talk a little bit about the jail where BK is staying. He's in a pretty small jail. So this is pretty small in comparison to some of the other jails in Idaho, like the one in Boise. The Latah County Jail holds 42 people, and the jail is staffed by 1 lieutenant and 2 corporals and 8 deputies working 2 different shifts. So that would be 2 12-hour shifts. So you can see why BK would probably rather stay here than go to a big prison. He's probably getting more of the food that he wants. He's able to watch TV. So this may be another reason why Ann Taylor and the defense team don't mind delaying until 2025. But if the prosecution is ready to get started and victims' families are waiting, is it fair for them to wait? What do you think? The courthouse where BK's been making his appearances literally butts up against the jail. That's how small the jail is. It is really tiny. This is a safe and secure place for BK to be, though, because the jail, as of the time of this recording, only has around 20 inmates in it. So it's not even halfway to capacity. So the fact that they're holding probably America's highest profile criminal defendant in this location is probably actually safer for him than being housed in prison, where he would most likely have to be on some type of isolation to protect him from other inmates. What do you think? Let's talk about the roommates for a second. So the roommates did, I'm glad they survived this attack on their friends, and it's a good thing that Dylan did close the door and lock it, because something horrible could have happened to her had she wandered out that night to find out who this guy was, who was wearing a mask, dressed in all black with bushy eyebrows. Unsealed court documents reveal unsettling details about BK's phone records. It indicates that his phone stopped responding to the network at 2:47 a.m. on November the 13th of 2022. This is the night that Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and Santa were all done away with. And then it reconnects back to the network at 4:48 a.m. So I believe that he turned off his phone or put it into airplane mode during the time of these crimes. Allegedly, he's presumed innocent until proven guilty. Documents reveal that BK applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022, and in his essay he wrote that he wanted to help rural law enforcement collect and analyze technological data. So BK was always very interested in technology and criminology together. And I think his interest in assisting law enforcement is really, really interesting, especially in light of the fact that he tended and befriended this young woman at Washington State University, a colleague of his. He staged a break-in at her house so that he could install security cameras, and then he watched her. Really, really interesting that he wanted to help law enforcement with their technology. Subscribe and leave me a comment.